Andy, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. It's good to be with you.
I know we only got a few minutes, so let's start off with give me the border chaos update. Mayorkas said once Title 42 goes away, we're still locking down the border. So what's going on?
Yeah. The lockdown post 42 repeal is going to look exactly like the lockdown beforehand, except for it's going to be even more worse than it is. I can even more worse. It's going to be unbelievably bad. So chaos. The way to think of it is you had 243,000 encounters at the border. That means people either surrendered or got apprehended, and then you had probably 75 to 100,000 gotaways get in. And of the 243 that they captured, you had something like 111,000 released into the country. So you're looking at maybe 200,000 people that are in our country illegally today. And it's, that's just a fraction of what it's going to be. Just saying, I saw video taken this week of the Darien Gap in Panama, where literally it is a flow of thousands upon thousands of people who are going to be making that dangerous trek through the Darien Gap all the way up. And then you also have the 160 different nations that are being represented in the folks that are coming across today. So it is worse than ever. And, we aren't even talking about the fentanyl poisoning that's going on. We're not talking about the inhumanity of this or the terrorists that are coming through. It's just been a flood of this stuff. Talked to a federal judge yesterday who's dealing with this. Talked to former DEA agent dealing with this. They are overwhelmed. They cannot believe what's happening at the border, and this is by design. Never forget, this is by design. This is what the Democrats campaigned on, and this is what they've promoted. This came from our CBS affiliate. They did a story about the fentanyl problem, and their source was Tucson Police Department data, is saying that 8 million fentanyl pills were seized in the U.S. in 2020, right? Mm-hmm. The Tucson alone was responsible for 1 million of the 8 million, just in Tucson. So we are at ground zero of fentanyl hell down here. Yeah, well, and don't forget, DEA came out just a few months ago and said 40% of all the fentanyl pills that they seize are lethal. And so, it doesn't take much fentanyl to kill people. Most of this stuff, this is kind of a chemical weapon from China because all of the precursor chemicals are being shipped into the manufacturing plants in Mexico from China. And make no mistake, China knows what's happening. They know where this is going, and they're content with this, and they want to do this. We are not responding as a government. We are not responding and saying, you're literally killing thousands upon thousands of people over the last probably 7 to 10 years. It's over 1 million people killed because of fentanyl poisoning, and that's originating from China right in through to Mexico. I mean, it's time to acknowledge that we're under attack and we're under invasion.
Real quick, because I know you got to get going, tell me about the Small Business Prosperity Act you introduced.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is, I reintroduced that. It's just tough sledding because our colleagues across the aisle don't really want to help the small business. But we take the interest rates, the tax rates down to the same level as the major corporations got a break under the Trump tax break. So you take that down. You make it all easier to convert between an LLC and a sub S, so that these small business owners can make the appropriate classification of their business without it causing a tax event. And it basically will protect small business owners from the onerous regulations and taxes of the federal government.
Which I'm sure every Democrat's willing to jump on during an election year. Why would we want to do that?
They don't care. It doesn't matter to those guys. It really doesn't. So it's a shame. It's a crying shame. But that's right. It's a fight
right now on every issue.
Congressman Biggs, my name is Josh Jacobson. I'm on the board of the Arizona Restaurant Association. I normally am in your office every year when we come back to Capitol Hill. You are one of my favorite congressmen, and I just want to say thank you for supporting the restaurant industry and small businesses. And I missed you at the conference this year and hope to see you next year in office.
You know, and if I can chime in, you've been one of my faves for years, ever since you said when you were a legislator, yeah, tax increases are on the table for discussion, just so we can talk about how they won't work.
That's true, because they don't work. And Josh, first of all, the small business owner, I mean, is there anything more prototypical than a restaurant as a small business owner? They're entrepreneurs. They start up on a shoestring, got a very tight margin, and they get squeezed out by, and I have no problem with the big restaurant corporations, but you have to acknowledge that they get all these better deals and breaks. And so these restaurants are fighting hard to make ends meet in a very, very tough environment. And, whether it's the mandatory minimum wage, to the inflation pressure that's on them, to the cost pressure that's just driving everything up, that's a terrible thing. But then on the other hand, the solution, at least according to this administration, is to raise taxes.
Right.
I mean, they've said they say they want to raise taxes. I mean, I find myself just shaking my head that isn't the solution. There are better solutions, and we've got them.
Well, thank you for understanding business, Congressman Biggs.
Andy, thanks for the call in. We got to get going. You got to get going. We'll catch you next week, okay?
All right. Thanks, guys.
Later, my friend.